It's Friday, January the 21st, 2022 at 8:19 a.m. here locally in downtown Seattle. This is the One Hiraeth Project's DiaryCast number 23, entitled Beyond Thought. In the last handful of years, during my exploration of that beyond thought, the unknown, the unseen, I've come to accept that who I really am seems to emanate or project from another space. And from that projection point, I find myself in this human form. That's okay. And the exploration and experimentation that I've been doing on my own for the last 4+ years was all done without the support of family and friends. I would never have taken that first step beyond what I refer to as my Oliver experience. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I recommend you go to the description section, click on the link to the One Hiraeth Project's SoundCloud account, and click on anything that says Oliver. And you will hear a disembodied voice, meaning a voice that came through a computer that was not attached to any body. Oliver stated that he came from a location that is beyond us. When we asked why us, he said that they've tried many times and that the people either refuse to listen, to even recognize or admit that they're hearing something or experiencing something, or they go crazy or are told they're crazy, or they get so afraid that they run away and pretend like it never happened. So he said, "You're just listening." I liked that answer, but I never did get a definitive response as to where exactly they're located. It's just not here. Other than that experience, every other one that I have had has been intuitive, as if you slowed time down to such a spot that 1 second of our time would equate to at least one regular lifetime in another. So you might go into a meditation, for example, for 1 second, but when you come out, you've graduated from college, had a whole career, a handful of children, grandchildren, and in your wisest days, you lived them knowing that this was a type of inception and that you would be back in that other location any year now. So with that in mind, from the time I came back from Australia with the Oliver experience, I had this instinct based on things that he was saying that I was supposed to try to find home, because he kept telling me, "You've been there for too long, it's time for you to come home." And I thought of home as a place. I was supposed to be returning to a place. And maybe as far as Oliver's concerned, I was. I don't know where he was coming from. I don't know if it's another type of physical reality below the manhole or beyond the stars, or in a different dimension where he actually has some kind of a physical form, whether it would be one that I recognize or not. I don't know. We never got that far. But I knew that home had significance. And then I met someone in February of 2017. And I truly thought that individual got me. But the more I got to know this person, the more I was made aware they were more interested in listening than in contributing to the conversation about it. I began to trust again for the first time. I had been let down by people I loved, cared for, and believed in my whole life. As a child, I was always taught, do the right thing. That's all you have to do. Do the right thing. Pay your dues. Work hard, and you will be rewarded. Well, it didn't work that way, especially for someone like me who chose a career in the legal environment where doing the right thing, especially if you're doing it for your client, might include a whole heck of a lot of redirection, disguise, manipulation to shield what was actually going on in any particular situation. So I was a do the right thing kind of girl my whole life. Even today, I find that I'm still that person. So in doing the right thing, I ran across a lot of unscrupulous individuals. I committed to the experimentation to whatever degree I had to, knowing that I would be putting myself in harm's way as far as the way I was perceived, the circumstances I might get myself into, and so forth. But if I had that one person, just one, that I could trust, that I knew would never step away, no matter how weird it got, that I could count on to tell me if I was on the right track or if they thought that I was faltering in some way during the experimentation, if I'd gone too far, or if they felt that maybe there was something I wasn't looking at. I wanted that fresh perspective from someone who I always felt would be there, no matter what. And with that assurance, I could take those steps into understanding more about the unknown, because I knew that no matter what happened, I would always have this one person I could rely on. Well, that one person failed me. Having made that commitment, though, to find home, or the equivalent of home, or an understanding of what home meant, or the bigger picture, which was my feeling that Oliver was trying to show me how to live in a new world. And my feeling this huge obligation, responsibility to create this new world, not just for me, but for the benefit of all, of everyone. And somehow this was in my hands. Now that may sound like a pipe dream, and I'm not attached to that feeling as much now as I was then, because I've learned that I was not creating a new world for everyone. I had what do they call it? Laser surgery on my third eye so that I could see clearly that was to motivate me to take that first step, to discover that it's already here, that it's always been here, it will always be here, and all I need to do is blow away the clouds to reveal it just beyond. And when I began to slowly realize this through experimentation, I lost everyone that was close to me. I lost my son, who thought I was just a nut job, my sister, some of my friends, and I didn't feel alone. I actually felt more empowered than ever before, but it didn't make it easier. It made it more challenging because I had no one to bounce off the results I was getting, not a person. To reach the point where I am today, where I live a life that is really kind of another dimension within this one, it's because I live beyond thought. The more I experienced, the more alienated my friends and family became. But I couldn't give up because the enrichment of my being was now tied to this tetherless space beyond thought. But I never gave up. And in retrospect, I recognized that in the last 2 years alone, because that's how much came to me in that instant, that every single place where I had stayed, whether it was a house-sitting opportunity or a host offering their home as an Airbnb, I ended up in places every single time with like-minded people. Now, I didn't know that going in, and in some of those occasions, I didn't even know it until I had left, and I would receive these beautiful letters of gratitude. Every single one of these people in the last 2 years have sent me a note or a letter in gratitude. But what are the odds? Think about that. 2 years of traveling, 11 different locations where I stayed. Yet every single time I find out that we are of like mind. I find out because in their place, they have crystals or books on the topic or tarot cards or something that's a giveaway. So to summarize and wrap all that up, every homeowner has been like-minded, while every relative and friend has disconnected. I've been called repelling. I've been told that I'm disgusting. I've been told I was just plain crazy. I've been told to shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear that crap anymore. Keep it to yourself. I have a sister who hasn't talked to me in over 10 years, literally because she did not want to hear me talk about one more of my experiences. Though she never told me that directly, she just disengaged and never allowed me to connect with her again. What I want to share here is that if you look at the way that I've lived my life, where doing the right thing always felt like my path, and sometimes doing the right thing meant not following the rules and the regulations, not because I didn't believe in them, but because they were contrary to what I felt the right thing was, and not in a destructive, criminal kind of way, in a fundamental methodology that appears more to be a creation for the benefit of those who created those rules and regulations in the first place. And I'm not limiting it to the law or to government or to, big pharma or large corporations or banking systems or the tobacco industry or big oil or even local politics, neighborhood watch programs. Those kinds of rules and regulations are man-made. And I'm following a diagram, a treasure map that was made in the land of Oz. Because where do you think those ideas came from? They came from the mind, from a place beyond thought. So here's where I want to leave this. The purpose of this week's DiaryCast was to simply introduce that what you believe will happen will. It just may not present in the way that you thought. I needed to feel all of that rejection and to not give up in the face of all of that rejection, which I never would have done had I not tried to trust one more person, because that person made me feel safe to begin this journey of exploration and experimentation with the unknown. A journey that has taken me 5 years already, and I feel like I've reached a precipice where I can live for a while. Grateful to all of those rejections, because I wouldn't have been able to have clearly seen the quantum threads weaving the creation that I call my existence, as they came to me in the form of all of these others coming into my life, all having the same belief system. So does that mean they're crazy? Does that mean that they are repelling? Maybe to some, but it also means that I'm not alone, that I'm one of many, and there isn't any way that I could have shared the results of the experiments that I had. So if there are others out there who have come to the same understandings that I have, through whatever means they did, there has to be some validity to that. And I don't need approval. What I need is to follow my intuition, knowing it will always lead me where I want to go, and any challenges that I face are either mine for growth or are me opening myself up to the challenges that I face, because others will end up benefiting from them in ways that I may or may not ever be aware of. And I love that, and I accept that. So here's to being repelling. And for this week, I'll leave it there.